I am retired 2014 Sergeant De Leon, and I am creating podcasts to try to get um, some assistance through the Veterans Health Administration by claim way of medical neglect. I know that's a serious word, ain't it? That's a serious word that I'm tossing around that nobody wants to hear. Well, how can you possibly believe neglect? There's no way you're being neglected by the Veterans Health Administration. Come on now. Yeah, I know. All right, it's almost impossible to be medically neglected through the Veterans Health Administration. I know it's almost impossible for that to happen, especially in my situation where I have a unique medical situation, medical case, a medical dysfunction, and our prestigious doctors that work at the VA. Good Lord, God help them all. Um, have settled down in the VA to dictate their, oh my so respected historical opinion on what's going on. Right, most of these doctors at the VA, they go to the VA to settle down most of the time. They go to retire. What can I do as a doctor to still make some money, but still have the practice and not waste away my education that I built up for 50 years. What can I do? That's what we get. Okay, we don't at the VA, we don't get the Harvard graduate that graduates from medical school and decides to go work at the VA. It just doesn't happen, people. All right, just doesn't happen. So, and I'm not going to sit here and argue with people about, well, they have, all these sub factors, you know, of why doctors go to the VA and how much experience they have, and they're so good, and all this stuff. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm just saying that there's a level of complacency. All right, even with doctors are people. All right, there's a reason besides going, there's a reason why doctors go to the VA after their career with being a physician, whether they're a surgeon, family doctors, what have you, right? There's a reason. There's not no reason. There's a reason. And most people will take it that these doctors in our community go to the VA to help veterans, mainly. Well, that may be their intention. Okay, that may be their intention, but that's not the main purpose. Okay, and then we veterans should be thankful that we're even getting these veteran doctors. These doctors that have 50 years of experience. We should be thankful, right? Like, you guys are bastards. For not being appreciative that we even have doctors at the VA. How about you should be thankful that we have volunteers that volunteer to take care of our country so you can have a sorry, my bad. So you can have a career as a doctor. We can play that game too, right? I'm tired. I'm sick of feeling like I need to be thankful, overly thankful, right? For doctors that come into the VA that are retiring. And we're supposed to, as veterans, us little peons, are supposed to bend over backwards, which we can't anymore because we broke our damn back. And we're supposed to be, have this overly respect for thanking, these doctors for, oh, I'm so sorry, doc, that you got away from your $100 million career to come work for the VA for pennies. I'm so sorry. Maybe I ought to be more respectful for you. Was I born yesterday? Look, people, what's the saying? Okay, what is the saying? There's a saying that goes around. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to get this right, so you can correct me, and I don't give a shit if you can. The saying goes like this: you can fool some of the people all the time, but you can't fool all the people all of the time. Is that the way it goes? Well, if it's not, then you understand what I'm saying. You look it up and figure it out. And that's the truth. Okay, whether we like it or not. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm in this position that I am advocating for myself because, damn, I slept wrong. My neck is hurting. That I'm in this position because of everything. And if I point something out that's negative, then I'm accused of being irrational. I'm accused of being uneducated about my situation. I don't know enough about the policies and procedures that govern the VA to have an opinion, right? We don't, as veterans, we don't get the privilege for somebody at the VA to say, hey, you know what? Let me educate you. We don't have that privilege, people. A policy and procedure is there to protect the Veterans Administration, the people that work for them. And most of the people that work for the Veteran Administration don't even know what the hell the policy and procedures are. They just clock in and clock out like the rest of us. But there's a level of protection that they get. There's a privilege that they have working for the government that allows them, okay, it allows them to go along, to get along with everybody else. So when you have a problem as a veteran, okay, whether it's a minor problem or a serious problem, okay, your problem, your complaint goes into a bucket. It's the veteran bucket. All right, because that's the way the government works. You have a complaint against the government, they get that problem and throw it into a bucket. All right, and then you're dealt with the policies and procedures that govern the VA, whether you know it or not when you work for the VA. Because most of the time, the people that get the brunt of the problem are the little people, the people that have to deal with all the small stuff, wiping your butt, taking your blood pressure, doing stuff that the higher echelon of people like the doctors and the administrative bosses don't have to deal with. Right? So look, people, this is what I want to say. The VA is a fantastic organization. You're going to hear it from me. I admire that our country has something like the VA. That's why I live here. That's why I protect my country. If it were one thing, and we only had one thing, I would support it. Oh, our veterans are really I'd be, on it. But we got billions of things that help protect our country. This is just one of them, right? The VA is a fantastic organization. I think without the VA, we wouldn't be the country we are because veterans wouldn't volunteer to fight for their country. Absolutely. We'd be just like any other third world, fourth world, whatever country, right? We'd be struggling to maintain our status as a country, power. But no, we do. We have the Veterans Administration. We have a promise to our veterans. And it's more than a promise, people. It's more than a promise. That the Veterans Health Administration is here to help people of our country when they are injured, protecting our country, and many other reasons why. That's a fact. Okay, that's a fact. And without the Veterans Health Administration, we would not be the country we are. You can earn as much we can have all the money in the world, but we will not be the country we are today without the VA. See, the VA is more than a hospital. The VA is an organization that's tied into the military. All right. So I think most people that would take a chance for their life to be ended, for their life to end, would fight for any other country if we didn't have the VA in our country. Why would you want to commit yourself to one place if you could fight for other countries that you can benefit from? Right? You'd probably be, going back and forth to every country because you want a little bit of benefit here, you want a little bit of benefit there, or they do this for you here, they do that for you there. But no, in our country, we have an organization. We have rules, regulations, policies, and procedures that help govern taking care of our responsibilities. Right? That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Whether you know it or not, and you grow up in the United States and you're just some dude or some woman. By the way, there's only a woman and a dude in our world. Okay, if you're other than a woman and a dude in our world, then you need medication. It's a responsibility, people. It's a responsibility to take care of our responsibilities, which is the Veterans Health Administration. All right? It's an ongoing issue. It's an ongoing, living, breathing organization. It can't be fixed, people. The VA cannot be fixed. There's nothing to fix. It's always a live issue. So whether we have policies, which we do, policies and procedures, which govern everything a veteran does and claims that needs to get resolved, it never ends. It's a never-ending situation. Okay, and that's why a lot of people, politicians, have a problem. And this is more than my opinion. I've been seeing it. I'm 54 years old. I've seen it. Our politicians have issues with the VA. Oh, let's fix. You always hear it on TV. Oh, we're going to fix the VA. We're going to fix this. We're going to fix. There's no fixing. What are you going to fix? You going to fix my car? It's a bunch of BS, people. You cannot fix something that doesn't need to be fixed. There's no fixing at the VA. Everybody think, no, you need to fix. There's some problems. Okay, I understand that. But since it's a organization that is always dealing with something that is challenging, you cannot fix that. Okay, you can help to manage it and get it where it applies to what governs that organization. All right. So, and that brings me to my case. I'm a challenge to this organization. I'm a challenge. Okay, and that's perfectly what the VA is for. It's not for always resolving a situation. Oh, look, I broke my knee, for example. Oh, I didn't, but I'm saying as an example. Oh, look, I broke my knee, and then they fix it, and then everything's fine. I get the benefits, I get the help, the care, the whatever comes along with it, and it's resolved. Okay, the VA is not always for that. The VA is for regular, for everyday stuff. We're just people. We have medical issues that cannot be resolved. Okay, but because of the policies and procedures that govern to help, it's basically merely a management. It's a management of trying to address veteran health issues and benefits and whatever else is there that need to be governed, right? And that's how the VA works. So if you're out there saying, "Well, it needs to be fixed," no, no, there's no fixing. Okay, that's why there is policies and procedures to manage. All right. So every time I hear that, I think, "Oh Lord, here we go again with somebody who's gonna, promise you the world and really doesn't know what's going on and it's just gonna go along to get along with running this huge organization." Right? Most people that do that are politicians that want to get in and fix the VA, and they start saying, "I'm going to fix it. We're going to fix it." That should be number one telling thing right there. That they don't know everything about how the VA works. Okay, that there's hundreds of thousands of people that help control the VA, and they're going to rely on that. And when they get in trouble and they get in a pickle, they're going to depend on the policies and procedures to protect them. All right, that's what it's all about. And then you got the veterans, right? Then you got the veterans. So if you're being kicked around as a veteran, which I am, and that brings me to me, it brings me to me. I'm a challenge to the VA, okay? But I'm not a challenge to the VA where it needs to be brushed under a rock or a rug, they say. I don't need to be put under a rock and it's like, all this weight is keeping me down because I'm an anomaly. I'm something that can't be resolved. Well, I'm not looking to get resolved. I'm looking to get some damn management. I'm looking to get what is supposed to be mine from the people that I help protect. Right? I put my duty in. I sacrificed myself to try to get, um, to try to protect where I live. Okay, when I was in the service and I was overseas in a combat zone, I wasn't thinking about the VA. I didn't even know what the VA was able to do. I had no idea. I just thought the VA was some sort of place where veterans go, like a hospital. I didn't know they gave out benefits. I didn't know they had all these programs. I had no idea. So I'm not an anomaly, people. I'm not. But I've been advocating for myself as though I'm an anomaly because people are telling me I'm an anomaly, right? So these posts that I'm making are merely to let people be aware that the VA has a challenge ahead of them every single moment of the day. It's like our border, right? The only way you can absolutely help manage our border completely is to shut the border down, is close it for the time that it needs to be closed, not forever, just a time so that way you can kind of reset where people need to be to control it. Right? There's no fixing the border. You can't fix it. Right? You got to shut it down, hit the reset button, and say, okay, where are our people? Right? You gotta analyze everything, and that's what happens with the VA. The VA's got can the VA is so huge that it can reset me and say, okay, this soldier, this veteran, is in this position. Where are our people to situate him? Right? Because right now, I'm not situated at all. All I'm doing is being shoved around to people who they think are going to resolve my issue, or at least going to put a status on me and stamp me and say, yeah, this dude is crazy. He can move his body part, but he refuses to. We have proof that, doctors have said that he's not working well up in his head. So let's run with that. I don't have a solid plan of the same organization, the policies and procedures that are governing the VA to assist me. Okay, not to hide me, not to prevent me from obtaining a medical status, because I don't have a medical status right now. What is my medical status? Bullet, stop. You're scratching the damn rug. I don't have a medical status, people. Look, so let's back up a little bit. When you have no medical issues, you got minor stuff. Okay, everybody's got a problem. Oh, my knee hurts, my leg hurts, my back hurts, everybody's got something. But when you got a situation like mine, okay, where every day I'm trying to win over, I'm trying to conquer my disability. All right, because I don't have a choice. I got to live. Okay, the VA needs to put me in some sort of plan. That's what governs the VA, the policies, procedures. That's what governs the VA, to put veterans in some sort of plan, some sort of position, some sort of medical status. You cannot not be in some status, people, for anyone, even outside the VA. And with your doctor, they cannot say, well, you're an anomaly, which means, if you guys don't know what the hell anomaly is, that means that you're like this rare, you're this thing in which people can't figure out medically. So you're an unknown species of things happening to you. We just don't know. Hey, sweetie, can you turn that TV back on? So that's where I have a big part of my problem. And I don't, I'm trying to address it with the people who matter, like our politicians, right? Why can't I get the attention I need? It's not about fixing. It's about getting the attention I need for it. Okay, and it's their own damn fault for ignoring it. All right, and I can tell you, there's every excuse in the book for stating, well, we just didn't know about it. Well, we didn't have enough information about it. Oh well, we didn't. We didn't have the proper medical. Can you turn on that TV, sweetie? Okay, I will. Thanks. Happy to help. So that's what I have to deal with. That's what if you were in my situation, all right. If you had a medical situation that needed to get some attention because it is rare, because it is a little unique, right? It's not like cancer, where if you got cancer, everybody knows about that. Everybody knows what the process is. Everybody knows how to deal with it. And if you're ignored by getting treatment for cancer, then that's going to be a serious problem. Everybody knows how that process is going to work. Okay. And so that's going to be an obvious, rare thing that happens to people if you have something like that. But with me, okay, I'm dealing with something that is a little more difficult to deal with because, one, we don't have exactly the technology and all the information we need to deal with TBIs in our country or any country, right? We got variations of TBIs that walk around in our world that are all different. Some people can move their body parts, some people can't. Some people have more extreme injury with severe head injuries, more obvious things like bullets going through and shrapnel and all kinds of stuff, and they have TBI. Some walk around, some don't. So to be labeled an anomaly like I'm being labeled is frustrating. All right, it, it should frustrate anybody because I'm not an anomaly. Policies and procedures at the VA dictate that I'm not an anomaly, but yet I'm being told I'm an anomaly by the same people that are governed by those policies and procedures. They refuse to enact the policies that are supposed to label me when there is confusion about what is going on medically with me. That's what's supposed to happen, but it's not happening. So what do I do? Who do I blame? It's not as though it's happening, the machine's doing it. And I'm talking to a machine, I'm talking to people. They're actually seeing what's going on with me and don't want to commit to putting themselves in a situation where they have to explain why they put me in that situation. And that's what's going on. Right? So, and for them, it's okay because they support each other. So it's no sweat off their back. They feel as though they're doing the right thing under their policy and procedure because that's what the policy and procedure protects them for. But me, I don't have that. So if I'm being shuffled around and I got to convince somebody that they need to start using their own policies and procedures to help me. I don't know what it is. So these posts that I'm doing, I got to express that there is a problem with how doctors respond to situations Okay, and they can completely ruin a veteran's life. All right. Now I'm not in the the people management business where I have to I have to sift out the veterans who are trying to commit fraud, to the veterans who are anomalies, to veterans who who are up and coming, the new the new veterans, the ones with new injuries. I'm not in that department. I don't deal with that. So the VA is always trying to figure out how to deal with that, right? And that's why their policies and procedures help them. So you can be put in a position because of your situation and you don't belong there. And if it doesn't go well and no one follows through with it, then you're going to be kicked down that road forever until you as a veteran decide to advocate for your situation and try to convince people with the power that the policies and procedures that govern them are not applicable to your specific situation and they need to reconsider, applying different ones to you. So, uh, so when I say that I am medically neglected to the VA, you know, that's I'm stating that the VA has had every opportunity to reset and investigate why I'm making these claims. All right, and follow through with them, not just pick up on a claim and say, well, this veteran is doing this, let's see what we can do, check the box and then move on and not deal with it anymore. Well, that doesn't work, people. That does not work, and you can see why it doesn't work. All right, so I say, and this is what I say now. Look, I'm tired of people asking me at the VA, what's your goal? What is your goal? Why are you complaining? What's your goal for why you're advocating for you? That's all I hear from these people. That's so demeaning to me. What's your goal? I don't have a goal. I mean, what's my goal? Do you think I purposely want to advocate for myself because that um, I know that what I'm doing is wrong? Is that what you're stating? Well, what's your goal? It's almost as though, I have a situation that has progressed into a worse situation. And so when somebody asks me what my goal is, well, what's your goal? Why are you trying to get the help you need? Why are you claiming what you need to? Because the VA is supposed to do that. I don't have a crystal ball that says, hey, I got to figure out a goal to, to get assistance that the VA is supposed to follow through with. I mean, that makes me feel so separate from the VA when they ask me that. Well, you got to have a goal. No, it's not my goal. I don't need to address a situation where I think I need assistance. I'm dependent. Okay, I'm dependent on the VA to follow through with my medical situation, so I don't have to have a goal. There should be no, it should not be necessary to have a goal in the VA. It's not like I'm building a career, right? If I have a progression in my medical situation, the VA needs to be aware of it. That's not a goal. That's a responsibility. So, I'm telling you guys, um, I've been through a lot, and what I mean by that is I've been through a lot. I wish I could have recorded every single person that I've interacted with, because then, with your understanding as well, why is this guy being mistreated? Why is he being medically ignored? Why is all this stuff happening? Then you can see it for yourself, right? And that would be awesome if I could do that. But that's not my purpose. My purpose is to get the people who are supposed to be helping my medical situation to not get worse, or to manage it. So that way it could be like, well, there's not much we can do. We have to manage this person's medical disability, right? Instead, I'm fighting. I'm fighting for the VA to recognize. Well, and they do acknowledge in some way that something's going on with me, and that's part of the problem. Is okay. So since you sort of have it on the radar, why isn't it being addressed? Why isn't it being managed? Why aren't you giving him medical care for it? Right? Instead, for example, I have the diabetes, and I'm getting medical care for my diabetes. Okay, I get people to call me. I want to make sure that these people call me and they help me manage my diabetes over the phone. Right? So I get some attention for it. So why can't I get medical attention for my TBI? Because part of the problem with me getting diabetes could be a factor that my central nervous system is so messed up, which it is, that it's affecting my diabetes. It's affecting my blood glucose. Yeah, I'm susceptible to being, and this is where it gets complicated, but I shouldn't have to explain any of this. This should be something our medical professionals at the VA are able to conduct. They're able to attack. They're able to address. They're able to engage with. It shouldn't be my responsibility to tell them. All right? I should be there to help, not to tell them what's going on. So they call me. They want to talk about my diabetes. I have to do things to help them, right? And so right now everything is secondary to a TBI, a central nervous system that is not diagnosed with me officially. So How do I deal with it? Right? I'm not getting the proper care. I'm not getting the proper attention. I'm not getting anything to address a TBI, central nervous system dysfunction. Now they asked me outside the VA, hey, no, I did. I said, hey, can I get a spinal tap? Spinal tap, people. You guys know what a spinal tap is for? A spinal tap is to detect disease, something going on, and a little bit more than disease, but mainly disease. A spinal tap, right? A doctor I had outside the VA, and this is how far I've gotten with it, said, no, I'm not giving you a spinal tap. I mean, literally said no. Said, no, I can't not give you a spinal tap. And immediately I got offended because I'm thinking, son of a, right? But he explained to me why. And then I understood. And that's what doctors should be. And he said, hey, I cannot give you a spinal tap because one, it's not going to detect a TBI. That's not what spinal taps are for. Spinal taps are mainly for disease, for detecting multiple sclerosis in your brain, Parkinson's, all these things, right? But we have advanced to use spinal taps for other various reasons, which I'm not going to get into because the main purpose of a spinal tap is that. So the doctor said no. Unless I absolutely have to give you a spinal tap, I will do so, but you're not even close to doing that. You have a different issue. Well, what is that issue, doc? Well, you have a central nervous system dysfunction. But as far as blood tests and other ways to detect that you also have MS, there's other ways to detect that. And none of the markers, there's markers in your body that show that you have diseases, There's lots of other reasons to find out. But the spinal tap's a good way to do it directly. And he said, no, your markers show that you did not have a stroke, you do not have cancer, you do not have Parkinson's disease, you did not get bit by a tick, you do not have A, B, C, and D. So you have a central nervous system dysfunction, and we're going to find the silver lining of why you got a central nervous system dysfunction. So I figured that sounds like a long road. I said, are you sure? I don't have, yes, I'm positive. That's why I'm a doctor. So I moved on. And I said, well, there's got to be another way to figure out how to detect TBI. Right? And I've done most of them. MRIs, EMGs, all sorts of scans, all sorts of blood, all sorts of radiation, or, whatever that radio stuff is, and all sorts of things. Yep, a lot of stuff. And so the doctor had informed me that it's not necessary. He was adamant, people. He was adamant. Not like wishy-washy, like, oh, No, he was adamant, and he knew how it worked. And he convinced me because he knows how a spinal tap works. He's done them. He's a pro at it. So I understood. We moved on. But then later, after he started addressing the VA, because he needed more medical records to try to understand what's going on with me. Right? He wanted more information to see if there was any sort of TBI talk, any sort of information leaning toward getting help for a TBI, being evaluated for something. And there was nothing because the VA has already been kicking a can down the road saying that I don't have anything relating a TBI, in which this doctor is saying different. He's saying I have a central nervous system dysfunction, which is more than closely relating something wrong in my brain. which is a TBI. And so when he didn't find out what was going on, then the information he got from looking for information told him to give me a spinal tap. So then he came back to me and said, you know what? I got to do a spinal tap on you. This was like a couple of months later. Well, you know what I did? Yeah, I let him go. Because that is an untruthful status that he was deploying to me and following a narrative that I picked up on immediately. That all of a sudden, out of him being so adamant and a professional of giving spinal taps, saying it's absolutely not necessary for you to have a spinal tap to detect what I need to diagnose you with. Now he wanted to give me a spinal tap. So what would happen, people? You tell me. Okay? You tell me what would happen if you take fluid from my spine, which comes out of your brain and your spine. What would happen to me with the situation that's going on now? I mentioned that to him when we first started talking about it. I said, no way. There's no way, because that causes problems. And with my specific situation where I lose motor function, if somebody irritates, aggravates the central nervous system to a point where it gets rid of that motor function, or any has a reaction to my body, I can have a very serious situation. I can go into a stroke, taking fluid out of my brain, which the brain probably needs. Who knows? And that's why he was adamant about it. Why do you want to create another problem in which you know damn well? That's why you give your first opinion, your advice, and then you go back on that word. Not good, people. So you see, I got to be very careful. So I'm protecting myself. So while doing that and getting rid of this doctor, it didn't help me. So it almost seems like I'm avoiding being medically tested by a doctor's opinion. So when I looked up the record to see whether the doctor wrote down in the beginning that he absolutely is, positive and adamant about not giving me a spinal tap, it was very vague when I read it. That, oh yeah, they like to state simple instead of trying to make accusations about things. So he did state it that he was not going to give me a spinal tap, right? But then later, went back on his word. The only way to prove that, people, would be to take him to court and say, look, or medical hearing or something, and say, look, you absolutely did not want to give me a spinal tap because of A, B, C, and D. And now you're going back on it after you talk to the VA. And you said it's not there to detect a TBI. Most of the time, it will not detect a TBI, especially if it's very specific TBI. It's there for disease and other things. So that's just one example, people, of what I have been going through. The negativity in my situation has been piling up. And that's been the narrative for me working with the healthcare community. I've been deemed unworkable by some doctors, that I'm not workable. I refuse to work with the doctors. Right? So do you see? I have no power. So I'm fighting I'm basically fighting the gods, the gatekeepers. How do I do that? And in the meantime, while I'm sitting here talking to you guys with this podcast, trying to get some assistance, some attention, I'm progressively getting worse because one, I don't have any medical management. Two, I'm not in a department. Three, I'm not getting any care for it whatsoever. So it's getting worse and worse and worse as we speak. So I just had a tooth pulled yesterday, and this one worked out. You know why it worked out for me? Other than the first one I got, it made me sound like I have a stroke or something. I, got rid of some motor function. You know why it worked out? It didn't. It didn't. So far, it didn't. I don't feel any new paralysis, any dysfunctional motor stuff in my face from that extraction. You know why? Because I advocated for myself before I went in. At least a week or two before I went in, I was calling them. I was talking to them saying, we got to find another way to not aggravate this central nervous system. How do we do it? I have an issue. The VA is not helping me. Even though it's their problem, they are not helping me. So I'm advocating for myself. I don't have a choice. So I sat down with the dentist, the doctor, the surgeon person, and they said, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, and did it. I didn't feel a damn thing. Did it in a way where they were able to extract this tooth, minimizing the pain and aggravating the central nervous system that picks up on the tooth, the pain and all that. And proceeded with not aggravating my central nervous system, or you would already see some sort of dysfunction. Yeah, did it. Well, how did that doctor do it? Because of me. Right? Not the VA. The VA didn't send them the information. I sent them the information. I did it. Well, that's what you should do. No. This is a serious medical situation. I'm not a doctor. I don't sign the papers. So as I've gotten worse, there's somebody who's supposed to be accountable for that, right? It's not as though it's been dictated that I have a TBI and I'm in this medical plan. I'm in no medical plan. There is no dictation on my TBI. So if I get into a situation, do I blame myself for saying, oh, I didn't advocate for myself? Doctors are supposed to know this. So if I go into a surgery and it affects my nervous system and it's a serious surgery and I pass away because it just can't handle it, whose fault is it? Is it my fault because I didn't advocate for myself? You see? It could be as simple as that, people. Well, he passed away, but we don't know why. It didn't seem that bad of a way of a surgery. Well, he passed away. I can tell you why, but I'm dead, so I can't talk to you about it now. He passed away because he has a central nervous system dysfunction, which is not acknowledged by the VA, which should be, as his main dysfunction, causing everything else. And it picked up on it, and he had a stroke and passed away. Well, we don't know that. I know you don't know that because you haven't dictated that I have it. How you possibly know that? Everybody else is following along with that. It's a serious case, people. Right? It's a serious medical dysfunction. Right? I'm almost lucky that when they went and did some uh, surgery on my pancreas, They did it through my mouth, went down and endoscopic stuff. They were very careful about it. I know he was because he showed me. And there was really no cutting, not too much cutting, not anything. It was very basic, some simple stuff, it seemed like. And he did a very excellent job at the VA, this surgeon. And he succeeded to not aggravate the central nervous system. And I survived. I went through and it came out with no dysfunctions. But how did he know that? He didn't know that until I brought it up. Okay. So naturally, I think a person, whether it's in your record or not, a doctor who's going to be conscious about their status and their situation is going to take that to heart. And they're going to say, if you're good, and you're going to say, yeah, I don't care where this information is coming from, but this dude is saying, this situation, he's had some history with it, and I'm gonna be as careful as I can. But it didn't say that in the VA records, right? You see, so it's a serious issue, people. It's a serious, serious issue. So that's my thing for today. We'll continue on for tomorrow. And again, let's try to get, if you guys can help me out, send a quick note to your local representative. I don't care who it is. Send it out to the mayor, to the senator, and say, look, have you guys please look at this video, veteran looking for help. That's it. You don't have to say a story. You don't have to pour your heart out. You don't have to say, as a, whatever, a citizen, I want to. No, you just state it and try to get these people to go to these videos. They're on YouTube and they're on Facebook also. I don't erase these ones. I erase ones that I do off my phone because it's just for Facebook, and I'm trying to get it moving. This Restream, I do Restream. Trying to get it on my phone so I can keep them. But I don't like to do just single things like that. But whatever. So help me out. In turn, I will help you out by having your money well spent at the VA, and you guys can feel good about helping out a veteran in some serious need, right? And so that is it for today. We shall see you guys tomorrow. All right.